Walters is back for another season as the official bar of the Nats Chat podcast. Walters is the best spot to go before and after home games, located at the southeast corner of Capitol and N Streets, right across the street from the ballpark.
Here's the pitch. Fastball, line drive, base hit through the hole past the diving Abrams. One run scores. Diaz trying to score. Young's through the plate. Adams has it. He'll apply the tag. And Diaz is out by plenty. Arise delivers the RBI hit, and San Diego leads it 1-0. 40,000 plus standing here at Petco. Morejon the set, and the 0-1 to Wood. Swinging a fly ball left center field. It is playable. Merrill calling for it. Jackson Merrill's there. He makes the catch. And the series is over, and the series belongs to the Padres.
And welcome to Nats Chat, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who is at Petco Park in San Diego. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. We have arrived at the numerical midpoint of the Nationals 2025 regular season. 81 games down, 81 games to go. And the Nats are at a new low point in this regular season. 15 games below 500, 33 and 48, a 1-0 loss at the San Diego Padres on Wednesday to lose 2 out of 3 games in the series. You can find us on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email us natschatpodcast@gmail.com. And you can check out a website that we have, natschatpodcast.com, at which you can buy a Nats Chat Podcast t-shirt. Coming up later in the show, a report on the Nats AAA affiliate, the Rochester Red Wings, from the voice of the Red Wings, Josh Whetzel. The Nats ace, MacKenzie Gore, he on Wednesday again was good, but Padres starting pitcher and former Nats prospect Nick Pivetta, he was better. Wednesday marked the end of a stretch of 16 games in 16 days for the Nats. They went just 3-13 during that stretch. And Mark, the Nats are on pace for 66 wins. This off back-to-back regular seasons, each with just 71 wins. The Nats have some work to do to make this a successful season.
And as we talked about during the 11-game losing streak, that hole they dug themselves, you know, they could play 500 ball the rest of the way. That would be fantastic to do that over an 81-game stretch. But you know what? It would still leave them 15 games under 500 for the season, and that's not going to cut it. If they end up anywhere below 71 wins and even around 71 wins for that matter, given where they were the last 2 seasons, that's not going to fly. That's not enough. This team needs to be better than that. They know that. We all know that. They've really presented themselves with quite a challenge over the remainder of this season. And yeah, they've played better on this West Coast trip. I think that's clear. I mean, it'd be hard to play worse than they did during the losing streak. 3 of the 4 losses on this trip have been by 1 run. Okay. But they're not showing an ability to win that close game, to come through with that hit that you need, to make the one pitch you need, to make a play in the field. This has been a recurring theme for them. Teams that are improving, teams that are getting better, need to learn how to win close games, and you especially have to win more games when your ace is on the mound pitching as well as MacKenzie Gore has throughout the majority of this first half of the season.
I said to you going into opening day that in order for this to be a successful season, the Nats win total needed to start with an 8. That the Nats win total is on pace to start with a 6 is really disturbing. And to your point, the Nats could do some good things over the final 81 games and still wind up with a win total that starts with a 7 or even in the 6s. That is brutal. That is painful. That is a rebuild that is just not working. And when it comes to MacKenzie Gore, so, you know, there has been a lot of discussion this season about the Pittsburgh Pirates ace Paul Skeens and the lack of run support that he has received. And no doubt he has received very little in the way of run support. But Paul Skeens for this regular season, 17 starts, ERA of 2.12, record of 4-7. MacKenzie Gore now, 17 starts, ERA of 3.09, record of 3-8. Gore's record is worse than that of Skeens. Now, Skeens has been better than Gore, but Gore has been really good, and that his record is worse than that of Skeens. I feel like some national attention needs to be paid to this, the lack of run support that MacKenzie Gore is receiving.
Yeah, 100%. There are a lot of similarities there, not just with Gore and Skeens, but I feel like a lot of similarities here between the Nationals and the Pirates, and that's not a team you want to be compared to. This is the 5th time this year in Gore's 17 starts that the Nationals have scored 0 or 1 run for him. That obviously not good enough. He leads the league in strikeouts. His ERA is 3.09. He's got 11 quality starts in those 17 starts. There's only 5 big leaguers that have more quality starts, and there's just one more, 12. Nobody has more than that. He has consistently been not just good, but excellent. And as you said, the record is 3-8. Now, to his credit, he has not complained about that. I asked him, about processing that record and how tough that is. And, to his credit, he gave a good diplomatic answer. He said, that's just something you don't really want to start that narrative. We've thrown the ball well as a whole. There's been some tough losses. There've been a lot of good opposing arms. That's kind of the way baseball is sometimes. I give him credit because there are pitchers who would voice their frustration with that. And, we know and he knows that win-loss record for pitchers don't carry the cachet they used to. He's not going to get his next contract based on his one-loss record. He's going to get it on everything else that he does. But boy, he's got to feel like they've hung him out to dry this year. And this might have been the prime example in this game.
This was tough to watch. Gore in this game, 1 run in 6 innings, 6 strikeouts. He gave up 5 hits, all of which were singles. He did issue 3 walks into wild pitch. So if you want to pick at a nit, there it would be. Threw 103 pitches, 65 strikes, 38 balls. But not only did he pitch well in this game, he fielded well in this game. Multiple well-performed defensive plays by MacKenzie Gore on balls hit back toward him. So we saw like a new dimension to MacKenzie Gore in this game, not only pitching effectively, but fielding effectively.
He's a good athlete, always has been. Maybe just hasn't had the opportunities that he did. That was a remarkable stretch in that inning. And 2 out of the 3 plays were legitimately tough plays that he had to make. The other one, not routine, but relatively simple. Good on him for getting the job done on that. They really, for the most part, I think C.J. Abrams had an error. Otherwise, they played a very clean defensive game. You had Jacob Young looking good in center field. Obviously, Gore on the mound, fielding his position well. When you're in the situation he's in, you better help yourself every possible way that you can. And he did do that. And I feel for him. He deserves better. He truly has pitched as well as we've seen anybody in a Nationals uniform pitch since 2019. That's how far back you got to go. And we know who the names were back then. He deserves a lot better because he has earned it.
I was trying to think of any other Nationals starting pitchers who have had hard luck seasons like Gore is having right now in terms of the ERA is really good, but the one-loss record just isn't that good. Because the truth is that in most of the seasons in which the Nats had good starting pitchers, the Nats were good. And so their records were reflective of those guys pitching well. One season I found Livan Hernandez in the 2010 regular season, 33 starts, ERA of 3.66. That was a bad Nats team. His record was 10-12. I don't know if that qualifies as a hard luck season, but John Patterson was good in 2005. The Nats were decent in 2005. So I don't really know that you call that like a hard luck season. But my point would be, we're in kind of rare territory here. A National starting pitcher having a high-level season, but having very little to show for it in terms of the one-loss record. And more to the point, the team having very little to show for it from a one-loss record, because the pitcher one-loss record doesn't really matter. There's a larger issue here, which is this guy's killing it, but the team just isn't winning when he pitches because the team isn't doing enough to win when he pitches.
Right. And I understand that sometimes when you are that number one starter, you get the disadvantageous matchups and you're facing the other team's ace. But that hasn't been the case all the time with him. And yes, Nick Pivetta pitched a great game. He's not an ace. He's certainly not the Padres ace. You got to find a way to score a couple runs off a guy like that. And what the Nats did offensively, and I know we're going to get more into it here, but 3 hits, all singles, no walks, never even had a man in scoring position. This is a team that scored 10 runs the other night, had been blasting home runs for the most part on this road trip, and they just had nothing. And I wonder if there is something about the days when he pitches, when your number one guy pitches, and hey, he's only going to give up 1-2 runs. Do they ease off the gas pedal subconsciously, not on purpose? but kind of feel like, all right, hey, we don't have to score 10 runs to win this game. We only need a few because our ace is on the mound, and it actually backfires on them because, they're not fully into it or something like that. And, as a result, they lose a game 1-0, 2-1, the kind of stuff that we've seen too often this year.
To not have a single at-bat with a runner in scoring position in a game is hard to do. I mean, put aside the no runs, put aside the 3 hits, put aside the no walks, to have nothing in the category of RISP, to be riskless in this game, 0 at-bats with runners in scoring position, that's tough to do. And yet the Nats somehow pulled that off in this game. Hey, Al Galdi here for Window Nation. July 4th weekend is around the corner, and for many people, that means that summer vacation is coming up. Will your windows keep your home protected while you're away? Save yourself the headache of coming home to a potential break-in by replacing your windows today with Window Nation windows. Right now, when you buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows free, plus you get a free exterior door when you purchase a house full of windows. And on top of that, you won't have to put any money down, pay any interest, or deal with any monthly payments for 24 months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast. In this economy, what Window Nation is offering right now is a great deal. Your electricity bill is another good indicator of how well your windows are working, especially with summer temperatures here to stay. Lucky for you, Window Nation offers top quality, energy efficient vinyl windows built to withstand the sun's heat and keep your home cool. And did I mention that Window Nation windows come with a lifetime warranty? Don't miss your chance to protect and upgrade your home with Window Nation windows. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free now through June 30th. And remember, you won't pay a thing for 24 months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION or windownation.com, and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast.
LinkedIn Jobs is here to help small business owners with that crucial step of making the right hires. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates you can manage all in one place. Here's how it works. Simply post your job, and LinkedIn's new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. You can either post your job for free or pay to promote it, and promoted jobs get 3 times more qualified candidates. Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/natschat. That's linkedin.com/natschat to post your job for free. linkedin.com/natschat. Terms and conditions apply.
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Right now, get a free select tool when you buy the Craftsman V20 2-pack battery kit. Whether it's the backyard, the bathroom, or beyond, Craftsman has the tools to help you power through and get the project done right. Because DIYing is unpredictable, but your tools shouldn't be. Shop Craftsman at Lowe's today. Valid through 7/9 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Maximum initial battery voltage measured without a workload is 20 volts. Nominal voltage is 18.
We faced a pretty good pitcher today, kept us off balance. His curveball was really sharp. I think we had a tough time seeing the breaking pitches, and then upshoot on the fastball really got us in between.
Nick Pivetta is having a good season. He, in this game, looked like a Cy Young Award candidate. I don't know that he's in that category, but the Nats in this game just got worked by Pivetta. 7 scoreless innings, 10 strikeouts versus no walks. Pivetta for this regular season now 16 starts, ERA of 3.36, whip of 1.03. And here he is still churning along. The Nats took Pivetta in the 4th round of the 2013 MLB draft out of New Mexico Junior College. They, on July 28th, 2015, traded him to the Philadelphia Phillies for closer Jonathan Papelbon, a.k.a. the DC Strangler, and cash. And Pivetta now is in his age 32 season. He has not been like a reliably consistent, good starting pitcher, but he has had some good seasons, and he obviously is in the midst of a good season right now.
Yeah, he's good. He's solid. He has put together a very decent career, most of it coming with Boston. That trade, I think you'd probably like to have that one back. Mike Rizzo has made some very good trades, and his track record there, his batting average is as good as anybody's in baseball. That's one you probably want to have back. Not that Pivetta was viewed as that big of a prospect at the time. He really wasn't. I think he was in A ball at the time, so he was a long ways off from becoming anything. But of course, Papelbon was not at all what the Nationals needed him to be, and I'm guessing Pivetta wouldn't still be a National if he had never been traded, but they probably would have gotten something out of him for an organization that could have used it. It felt like in this game, they weren't seeing him at all. They were swinging at a lot of fastballs up in the zone and taking a lot of breaking balls and other stuff that was over the plate. I don't know if the bright sunshine, the backdrop, something that Pivetta was doing, it felt like they really couldn't see the ball to plate. And I think James Wood was the best example of that. He struck out 3 times. And I know, as we mentioned the other night, he does strike out a lot, but he didn't come close to making loud contact. That's a rarity from him. Even the outs are usually at least well struck, and he didn't have anything like that in this game.
It was a very disappointing game for the top hitters in the Nats lineup. The Nats numbers 1 through 5 batters: C.J. Abrams, James Wood, Luis Garcia Jr., Nathaniel Lowe, and Brady House went a combined 0 for 17 with no walks and 9 strikeouts. Abrams also had that aforementioned throwing error. Just really nothing of note happening offensively for the Nats in this game. The 3 hits that the Nats had in this game came from the bottom of the lineup. Alex Call, the starting left fielder, had a hit. Dalen Lyle, starting right fielder, had a hit, also got picked off. And Jacob Young had a hit as the Nats starting center fielder. So the Nats 3 starting outfielders in this game, each having a hit. But that was it. This was a lifeless game offensively, a disappointing ending to a series that the Nats could have won, a disappointing ending to this stretch of, as mentioned, 16 games in 16 days. A topic during Davey Martinez's postgame session with you guys was energy. Did the Nats have energy? Did you see a lack of energy in this game? Did you see a fatigued Nats team, given that this was the final game of this stretch of 16 games in 16 days?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's easy to look at a game when you do nothing offensively and say, oh, well, they were, exhausted or they didn't show up for this one. I don't necessarily think that was the case. I think they just didn't see the guy well and didn't get anything going. And if they'd even given themselves a chance with a runner in scoring position, you might have seen some more energy. As I said, I thought they played a good defensive game for the most part. I thought Jacob Young had a nice day. He beat out a bunt single, almost beat out a second one, had a catch up against the wall, also had a really nice throw to the plate on the one hit that drove in any runners in this game. He at least got the trailing runner to prevent it from being 2-0. So I don't know that it was a lack of energy. I'm sure these guys are feeling it. 16 straight, and as we know, that include the end of the 11-game losing streak. They've been waiting for a day off. They need it. They're going to get to enjoy some Southern California sun on Thursday and come back on Friday to face the Angels. And, I know the Angels haven't been good in a while, and you'd say, okay, here's a chance to finally win a series. They've lost 7 consecutive series. You say, hey, here's a chance. The Angels are quietly playing a lot better. I think they just reached the 500 mark. So there's no guarantee there. If you're the Nationals, you can't overlook that one. And you look back on this stretch and you say, even when they haven't played their best, there have been some games with clear opportunities to win them. If you just come through in one big spot, they just were not able to do it.
No, they were not. And, the Angels, regardless of the record, even how they're playing, the Nats are not a very good team. So I don't know that they have the right to look at anybody and say, oh, well, that's a bottom feeder on which we can feast. I think we all learned a lesson with that 1-6 homestand against the Miami Marlins and Colorado Rockies. You assume nothing with this 2025 Nats team in terms of how it will do, what it will do against whichever kind of a team that it is facing. The Nats bullpen in this game was good, so there was a bright spot. Brad Lord, 1 2/3 scoreless innings. Kyle Finnegan faced one batter, got one out. A swinging strikeout of Jose Iglesias with the runner on second, and the Nats down 1-0 to end the bottom of the 8th. So the schedule is always a quirky thing. There's a lot that goes into a schedule, I get that. But here you have the Nats, 0 off days, 16 games in 16 days. And now the Nats have an off day on Thursday, then play this 3-game series at the Angels, and then have an off day on Monday. So 2 off days in 5 days of 0 off days over 16 days. So there is some rest coming for this team. To what extent that'll help, who knows? But that is nice. And that is a rough stretch. All MLB teams go through this. I get that. But man, 16 games in 16 days like that, 2+ weeks without an off day, not ideal.
And cross-country travel included in that. I think they really could have used that off day on the front end of the trip going into LA, or at minimum in between the LA and San Diego series. Now you're going to have one after the first two legs of the trip, and then you get another one after the third leg of the trip. You always get one going back east because of the time change, but I feel like too often MLB forces teams from the East Coast to fly west and play right then without having a break. I get it. You gain the hours. Maybe it's not as tough on the body, but I got to think that's not the easiest thing to do. Hey, I do it. I travel, whether it's the night before or the morning of, and it takes a day or two to get adjusted to the time change. And you can understand why it's tough on them. I don't know what to say. It's a tough stretch, but even in the tough stretches, you got to find a way to win a game here and there. And that's what I think's been discouraging, is that no, they haven't been at their best in a while, but you can still find a way to win a close game here or there. And it, I think, would have changed the whole narrative of all this. And we're not talking about what you said, 13 out of 16 that they've lost during the stretch. If we're talking about, they went 6-10 instead of 3-13, I think it's a very different feeling. And they were close to doing that. They just didn't get the job done when they needed to.
No, they didn't. And, I mentioned the 15 games under 500. The Nats now are last in the National League East. I mean, I don't know how much the standings matter at this point for the Nats, but to those who do care about standings, the Nats are last in the division. The Miami Marlins are no longer last in the division. As we're recording this, the Marlins play late night on Wednesday night, but the Nats, as we speak right now, 33-48 versus the Marlins 32-45. So a needed off day, but there's a lot to be contemplating with the Nats, both in the immediate term and the bigger picture. This team has got to stack some wins. This is unacceptable. A 66-win pace in year 5 of a rebuild like this. We'll see what the Nats can do at the Angels. But, after the series at the Angels, you get the off day on Monday. And then, oh, by the way, you face the best team in baseball in the Detroit Tigers next week, Tuesday through Thursday at Nationals Park. And by the way, speaking of the schedule, I noticed this. The following Friday is July 4th, so you get the annual 11:05 a.m. home game. The Nats have a night game the day before. It's game 3 of a 3-game series. The Nats very easily could have made that, say, a 4 o'clock game. But that's going to be a quick turnaround to go from playing at night on Thursday to playing on Friday morning. I guess the Nats look at it as you draw better at night versus during the day, and it is rather hot these days, so maybe, cooler temperatures make for a better experience for everyone playing on a Thursday evening as compared to a Thursday afternoon. But a 6:45 start Thursday, July 3rd, and then an 11:05 a.m. start Friday, July 4th.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I think there's fireworks that night as well, so hence it's a night game. I feel like in the past, they've maybe scheduled that one for 6:05 to get it a little bit earlier. I don't know the rationale for not doing that in this case. I think it's always great for fans, 4th of July week, and the way that the schedule works out. From the player standpoint, they don't love it. Of course, it's tough to be up and ready to go at 11:05 a.m., but we'll get to it. I mean, that's, as you said, you get past the Angels, now it's the Tigers, it's the Red Sox, and they go on the road to play the Cardinals and Brewers, a couple of other contending teams before you get to the All-Star break. There's no let-up. If they're going to dig themselves out of this in any way, they're going to have to win games against good teams. There's no, two ways about that. And winning 1 out of 3, as they've done on this trip in both LA and San Diego, it's not going to be good enough. You have to find a way to win some series, take 2 out of 3 from some quality opponents.
Nats starting pitchers for this series at the Angels. Game 1 Friday night, 9:38. Jake Irvin will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 2 Saturday night at 9:38. Michael Soroka will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 3 Sunday afternoon, 4:07. Mitchell Parker will be the Nats starting pitcher. You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. Hit us up on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email us, natschatpodcast@gmail.com, including if you would like to sponsor the show, contact the man who runs the show, Tim Shovers. Again, that email address, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat, courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast, and we leave you now with this report on the Nats AAA affiliate, the Rochester Red Wings, from the voice of the Red Wings, Josh Whetzel.
All right, now the mound visit is over. Robert Hassel is the hitter. Hageman's pitch is popped way up in the air down the right field line, carrying out by the foul pole in right, and that goes fair. It's a home run to right from Hassel, and Jackson Reitz thinks it was foul. Hassel circling the bases. After wrapping up the first half of the season with 5 straight wins, the Wings have dropped their first 2 games of the second half of the season. Rehabbing Derek Law made his first ever Red Wings appearance Wednesday afternoon and pitched 1 inning as a starter, giving up 3 runs on 4 hits, including a 2-run homer to Pablo Reyes. No walks, no strikeouts in that appearance for Derek Law. He is scheduled to make a couple of back-to-back relief appearances for the Red Wings later in the week. On the offensive side of things, Darren Baker remains hot. His dad, the legendary Dusty Baker, visited the Red Wings about a month ago in Syracuse, and Baker has been red hot since then, hitting .360 in the 24 games since his dad visited the Red Wings and Baker about a month ago. He has a 6-game hitting streak currently. Darren going 9 for 21 in that stretch. Robert Hassel certainly has not pouted since getting sent down from the big leagues. He's hit safely in all 6 games he's played since returning to the Red Wings, going 11 for 26 in that stretch with 2 doubles and 3 home runs. His current overall batting average with the Red Wings is .307, good for 11th best in the International League. And Yo-Yo Morales, while playing a good first base and third base defensively, has a 9-game hitting streak, during which time he's gone 12 for 37 with 6 doubles. He's now hitting .223 in his first 26 AAA games. On the pitching front, Cade Cavalli had a couple of rough outings. His first 2 appearances this year for the Wings. Over his last 7 games now, a 2.43 earned run average. Friday, he got his most recent win, working 6 innings against Lehigh Valley, allowing 2 runs on 5 hits. He struck out 5 and walked 3 overall in 9 AAA starts. Cavalli 3-1 with a 4.03 earned run average. And a couple of relief pitchers to mention. Connor Pilkington has probably been the Wings' most consistent relief pitcher this year. The left-hander with previous major league experience has a 3.24 earned run average and has allowed only 1 earned run over his last 10 innings of work. Jack Sinclair has been pitching very well. 12 straight scoreless appearances. He's not allowed a run now for over a month, spanning 13.2 innings of work. This is Josh Whetzel with your Rochester Red Wings report. Paul DeYoung 1 for 3 in his rehab assignment with the Senators. Breaking ball lifted to deep right field. This has a chance to tie it. Celestino's going back, and that's gone. Pinckney homers into the back of the home bullpen the other way in right. We are deadlocked at 4 on the Red Wings' 3rd solo home run of the ball game. Andrew Pinckney goes deep.